Are you ready to get to work?
Tonight, Vice President Harris hits the campaign trail in the battleground state of Wisconsin.
Donald Trump wants to take our country backward.
With renewed enthusiasm from voters and Democratic leaders.
Kamala Harris will fight for our future.
Plus, the head of the Secret Service resigns in the wake of the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump.
On July 13th, we failed.
I commend her for stepping down, but I think she should have done it sooner.
The CBS Evening News starts now. Vice President Harris tells ecstatic Wisconsin Democrats the baton is in our hands as she makes the case she's leading a new generation into the future. Good evening, I'm Nora O'Donnell, and thank you for being with us. Today, in the first rally of her presidential campaign, the vice president met a boisterous crowd in the must-win state of Wisconsin. It was a relatively short speech, but Harris pulled no punches, framing the 2024 race as the prosecutor versus the convicted felon. She made that case against former President Donald Trump, comparing him to the predators and fraudsters she faced as California's Attorney General. The VP is also racking up more key endorsements. Democratic leaders Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries threw their weight behind her today. We have team coverage of both campaigns and the White House tonight, and CBS's Weijia Jiang will start us off from Milwaukee.
One word said it all: Kamala.
I am told as of this morning that we have earned the support of enough delegates to secure the Democratic nomination.
Vice President Harris, a former prosecutor, went right after former President Donald Trump's criminal record.
I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. I will proudly put my record against his any day of the week.
Harris's momentum is fueled by cash. Her campaign says she's raised more than $100 million since President Biden dropped out of the race, and by powerful endorsements. Today, the top two Democrats in Congress, Senator Chuck Schumer and Representative Hakeem Jeffries, announced their formal support of Harris.
Kamala Harris and her candidacy has excited and energized the House Democratic Caucus, the Democratic Party, and the nation.
Harris's first critical decision is choosing a running mate. A string of hopefuls, mostly Democratic governors, are all over the airwaves.
Vice President now has an incredibly important and deeply personal decision to make.
Without a VP pick, all the attention is on Harris. Especially on social media, with new posts popping up on all platforms. Her campaign is leaning in, even changing its profile picture to embrace this one, shared by pop star Charlie XCX. Kamala is brat, which has gone viral.
Is it a compliment if Kamala is brat?
Yes, 100%. It is a compliment.
Wisconsin rally-goer Sarah Sprague says it is less about what brat means, more about how Harris can connect with younger voters who Biden struggled with.
She is authentically herself, and she's playing with that youthful side.
As part of that outreach to younger voters, and now that Biden's age is not a campaign issue, sources say Harris will zoom in on Trump's age as part of her case against him. He's 78 years old, and she's 59. That's nearly 20 years younger. Nora.
Weijia Jiang, thank you. We saw the president today for the first time in a week since his COVID diagnosis and his announcement that he's dropping out of the race for re-election. The president will address his decision in a speech from the Oval Office Wednesday night in the face of questions about whether he can finish his job as commander-in-chief. CBS's Nancy Cordes joins us now from the White House. Good evening, Nancy.
Good evening, Nora. The president returned here to the White House today to a very different political reality than when he left. He is now a lame duck, and aides tell me that Biden wants to use his speech tomorrow night to lay out what he plans to do with his final 6 months in office. One of his goals that we know he'll mention is to secure the release, finally, of as many as 8 American Israeli hostages who have been held by Hamas for 290 days now. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with hostage families here in D.C. yesterday, and he insisted to them that conditions for a hostage deal are improving. But the families pushed him to accept the ceasefire deal that Biden has already laid out, and they want Netanyahu to do it publicly when he addresses a joint session of Congress tomorrow. Hundreds of pro-Palestinian demonstrators staged a sit-in at the Capitol today in advance of Netanyahu's address tomorrow. He is slated to meet with both President Biden and former President Trump while he's here in the U.S. Nora?
Nancy Cordes from the White House, thank you. And CBS News will bring you special coverage of President Biden's Oval Office address. That's tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. With just 105 days until the election, the Trump campaign is shifting its strategy, is now focusing all of its attention on Vice President Harris. CBS's Robert Costa reports.
Donald Trump's last public rally was on Saturday, but today from Mar-a-Lago, he held a conference call with reporters and took aim at his new target, Vice President Harris. He called her radical, falsely claimed she wants open borders, and accused her of aggressively attacking President Biden's record on race and busing in a debate 5 years ago.
There was nobody nastier than her. She played the race card at a level that you rarely see, and she really was very nasty to him, and then he picked her, so I don't get that exactly.
Republicans are eager to define Harris on their terms. Vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance claimed Harris lied about President Biden's health and questioned her love of country.
If you want to lead this country, you should feel grateful for it. You should feel a sense of gratitude. And I never hear that gratitude come through when I listen to Kamala Harris.
Vance has long criticized Democrats.
We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are
and often with scorn.
You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children.
Congressional Republicans have already made sharp comments alluding to Harris's race.
A lot of Democrats feel they have to stick with her because of her ethnic background.
Tennessee Republican Tim Burchett has used the term DEI, which stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion.
100%. She was a DEI hire.
DNC Chairman Jamie Harrison says Democrats will push back hard.
We are going to make sure that the American people understand who is the party of intolerance, who is a party that is anti-diversity in this nation.
And late today, there was a sign of more attacks to come. A House Republican filed articles of impeachment against Vice President Harris, citing the administration's record on immigration, and other House Republicans are calling on her to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove President Biden from office. Nora.
Robert Costa, thank you very much. The director of the Secret Service resigned today, one day after admitting the assassination attempt on Donald Trump was the agency's most significant operational failure in decades. As CBS's Scott MacFarlane reports, Kimberly Cheadle drew sharp criticism from both parties.
10 days after the historic failure in Butler, Pennsylvania, Kimberly Cheadle resigned as U.S. Secret Service director, writing to colleagues this incident does not define us, and that she didn't want to be a distraction. In a statement, President Biden said Cheadle had shown incredible integrity.
I take full responsibility for any security lapse.
In graphic body camera footage from local police in the aftermath of the assassination attempt, agents could be seen standing over the bloody body.
Beaver County sniper seen and sent the pictures out. This is him. Okay.
Investigators also sought access to a drone. More revelations today. The Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner revealed 2 local police snipers were posted with a view of the roof used by the gunman, but left their posts to search for him. And that a local officer came face-to-face with the shooter minutes before the gunman pulled the trigger.
It was minutes. It was a very short period of time, even for his ability.
But not seconds.
I would say minutes.
Despite that encounter and rally-goers pointing out Thomas crooks on the roof, he was still able to open fire, killing 1 and wounding 3 others, including former President Donald Trump, who posted on social media, "The Biden-Harris administration did not properly protect me." For John Abel, who was seated steps from Trump in the podium, the resignation was warranted.
I think it's kind of a slap in the face for everybody who was there that their safety was put on the line from their lack of competence.
An acting Secret Service Director, Ron Rowe, will now lead the agency. In the meantime, the U.S. House has launched a bipartisan task force to investigate the assassination attempt, with the Secret Service's own review, Nora, due in about 2 months.
Scott McFarland, thank you very much. And there's this news today. Disgraced New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez is set to resign effective August 20th. The once powerful Democrat was found guilty of 16 felony corruption charges this month and is facing expulsion from Congress. New Jersey's Democratic governor will pick someone to fill Menendez's Senate seat until January, when the winner of November's election is sworn in. Tonight, the Justice Department says it's assessing the deadly police shooting of Sonia Massey, the Illinois woman who called 911 about a possible prowler, only to be shot and killed by a sheriff's deputy in her own home. CBS's Roxana Saberi has new information about the former deputy charged with Massey's murder. We do want to warn you that some of this video is disturbing.
It's one of the worst police shooting videos ever.
State records obtained by CBS News show Sean Grayson, a 30-year-old former private first class in the Army, worked for 5 different law enforcement agencies in just under 3 years, before being hired by the Sangamon County Sheriff's Office last year. CBS News has also learned Grayson was charged twice with driving under the influence of alcohol in 2015 and 2016. He pleaded guilty both times. Ben Crump is an attorney for Massey's family.
Why was he even hired by the sheriff's department?
A DUI conviction is not a disqualification from law enforcement in Illinois. Today, some of Massey's family members accuse the sheriff's office of trying to initially cover up what happened. Now, Massey's father is demanding Sheriff Jack Campbell resign.
I think it's a culture to treat this family this bad. If it were not for that camera footage, they'd have lied their way right out of this. So he needs to resign.
What took you so long to answer the door?
This comes a day after the release of body camera video revealing the moments just before Grayson shot Massey in the face.
Oh, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I rebuke you in the name of
God, I swear to God, I'll shoot you in your face.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Drop the
You only watched a little bit of the video. You had to stop.
Yeah, I can't finish it.
Massey's 17-year-old son, Malachi, and her mother, Donna, say they're still in shock.
This can't be real. I don't know how this could be real. I'm sorry.
In an email to CBS News, Sheriff Campbell said he will not be resigning. Grayson has been fired from the sheriff's office. He's being held in jail without bond and has pleaded not guilty to the murder charges. Nora?
Thinking of her family, Roxana Saberi, thank you so much. Delta Airlines is facing a federal investigation after another day of flight cancellations following that global tech outage. That story's next. Some Delta passengers have been struggling to get home for 5 days now after that tech outage that grounded planes around the world. CBS's Chris Van Cleve now reports the Department of Transportation is investigating.
Inside Delta's mega hub in Atlanta, the airline is still struggling. More than 5,400 flights have been canceled since Friday. That's also how long Bradley Ripple has been trying to get out of there.
The delays have been one after the other, and then it gets canceled every night.
At New York's LaGuardia Airport, Tiffany Osborne and her 13-year-old daughter Olivia were stuck since Saturday. They're finally headed home to Birmingham.
Offer something, offer a snack, a meal, something. But we had nothing.
After more than 3,000 complaints, the Department of Transportation is hoping its investigation will provide answers and accountability.
We're concerned about how the outcomes for passengers on Delta seem to be so different from what we're seeing across the airline industry.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg.
Stories about people in lines of more than 100 people with just one customer service agent serving them at an airport, that's completely unacceptable.
And the fallout from the CrowdStrike software outage isn't limited to air travel. The backlog now includes hospitals and courts. The company has more than 29,000 global clients. In California, thousands of medical computers remain offline. Some drivers in Massachusetts still can't get cars inspected at the DMV, and in Ohio, county government offices are also lagging behind.
We have a couple screens that are operating in each office, so we're limping along.
DOT estimates 500,000 flyers have been impacted. Delta's president says it may be Thursday or Friday before things are back to normal. And a number of senators are calling out Delta's customer service response, particularly around refunds. Nora?
Important story. Chris Van Cleve, thank you very much. Eye on America is next as we return to an Oklahoma community impacted by a destructive tornado. This year's tornado season is on track to be the third busiest ever. In addition to the $28 billion in damage and more than 40 people killed so far this year by severe weather, there's a devastating emotional toll when a community is destroyed. And as CBS's Dave Malkoff reports in tonight's Eye on America, the rebuild unfolds after the attention fades.
You think we can do it?
Yes.
This is what Bartlesville, Oklahoma has looked like for the past 2.5 months since a powerful tornado ripped through here.
Our family didn't get hurt, but it's kind of sad to know that other families did get hurt also. They got hurt really bad.
And 8-year-old River Garrett had to grow up quick.
I was in tears, because I didn't expect this much damage.
Your life is a little bit different now than it was before.
It doesn't even feel like the same place, and I say it to myself, that I can't make this about me.
All the news crews are now long gone. River and his grandmother, Jimmy Blake, and the rest of the folks in Bartlesville are trying to put what they can back together.
This was part of the wall in the office building.
Oh, yeah.
The tornado did this to their home, powerful enough to blow a family photo with River's grandmother in it 21 miles away to Danny Lemon's cow pastures.
So this is it?
Yep. There's a bunch of plywood and insulation laying around. I told my wife, I said, I know who these people are.
So far this year, there have been more than 1,000 reports of tornadoes in this nation. Meteorologists rate these tornadoes on a scale that goes from 0 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The one that hit here was near the top of that scale, winds up to 200 miles an hour.
Yes, this is where we build instruments and we put them onto vehicles so we can go out in the field and study storms.
Harold Brooks studies severe storms for the National Weather Service.
I think when people see these tornadoes, they think that at some point the buildings are going to get just reconstructed.
There are small towns that have been almost destroyed completely by tornadoes that essentially never rebuild because it's just hard to recover when there's no infrastructure left.
That was our meat processing plant over there. It's gone.
Johnny Kelly is the mayor of Barnsdall, Oklahoma. That tornado in May hit the heart of his community the hardest. 2 people died.
There's 83 homes that are gone. I don't know if there's enough adjectives in the vocabulary to describe this deal.
It seems like there's a short period of time when the eyes of the nation are on your city, but after that, there's still a big need here.
No one's here, and we're left here to deal with what's left. It's an emotional roller coaster for people.
A lot of people came in here and cleaned up, but it's not even half finished.
Do you have one wish for the future?
It's gonna take a while to get used to, but I hope this all gets cleaned up and you have a new house.
You want this part to be over like that?
Yeah, to the future, so I don't have to think about it anymore.
You need a time machine.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
It took 120 years to build this community. It will take some time to rebuild. For Eye on America, Dave Malkoff in Bartlesville, Oklahoma.
And the story of a young girl that will reel you in. That's next. Finally, tonight's Heart of America, meet 12-year-old Lucy Moore, who in May landed a 24-inch American shad and also landed in the record books. Earlier this month, she became the only female and the youngest person by a decade to earn Maryland's master angler status after catching 10 different trophy-sized types of fish. Lucy, who plans to become a marine biologist when she grows up, says she's been fishing almost her entire life.
My dad taught me how to do it since I was at least 2.
She really enjoyed doing it, and then it kind of evolved into what you're seeing right now.
It just, so many people doubt that girls could do some of the things that boys will do. I've just proved it.
We don't doubt you. Master angler Lucy Moore, she's tonight's Heart of America. And that's tonight's CBS Evening News. I'm Nora O'Donnell. Good night.